Hi guys, it's Aegis here, and today I'm going to do a deck profile which I have not been done for like months maybe, because it's not from the newest set, the three clans, which is Genesis, Nova Grapplers, and Anger Feathers, and also Nubatama. So there's four instead of three, but the reason is that because I'm not playing any of those clans. I did do unboxing with my friends, but of course he's playing it, so not me. So it's unlikely you'll see deck profile on those. But then the next set I will be playing Great Nature for sure, and then Neonectar I'm planning to play that as well. But if you saw my unboxing video, then you know the ratio is starting to get a little bit weird, so that you can't get a very fair split. Because normally when you crack a extra booster or like a smaller booster, then you will get around 6 to 7 VRs and then 1 SVRs. So it's kind of like a 2 play set for each clan because there's 3. But now we don't get that ratio from that main booster, which is a little bit sad. So we'll see if I can get a full split. Then I have 2 clans to play. If not, then maybe only one net with a little bit stuff from Neonectar. I'll also be buying singles. Yeah, so let's get back to the deck that I'm going to show you today, which is Tachikaze. Because I put this deck as my last one for the extra booster Raging Tactics, because I see like a huge changes on this deck after a while. Not like Mega Colony, not like Spike Brothers, that you basically get your like ratio fixed, and the way to play the deck is kind of fixed. You did get a little bit of flexibility and you can keep trying different things, but then for Tachikaze it changes a lot. Not only about the new cards, but after like a week or so playing, then the deck itself changed a lot. But first I will talk about my build first, and then we'll go further. So first we have a starter, and next I'm running 4 of the Anger Blader. So he is the key of this new build, and his first skill is a active skill. Put one of your regard under another regard face down as a gauge. By doing so, you'll select one of your opponent regard and retire it. So it is a very important skill because he helps you to increase the gauge on your unit, and in this deck the number of gauges under a unit is very important, and also that will be affecting his second skill, which is when this card attacks by counterblasting 1, then you select 3 of your regards that has 3 or more gauges and stand them. During the turn, all your framework units get 5k. So just himself, he can be a 17k attacker by just counterblasting 1. And if you have like 2 or 3 or 4 like units with 3 gauges, then you can at least stand 3 of them, and then all of them will get 5k power. So you don't have to, for example, if you have 4 front row, then you can attack with 3 first and then just swing with this guy, stand 3 of them, and all the front row get 5k. So pretty crazy. And this is the only grade 3 that I'm running in the deck, which normally if you play, for example, Giga Rex, you won't be playing 4 grade 3s, so you'll be playing a little bit more. And with my like initial build to play around with Anger Blader, I actually run like 7 to 8 grade 3s, but now I'm getting to 4 because I find the new way of playing this deck is quite interesting. But I will go through the deck first, and then I will tell you about what about it. Then I am running 4 of this guy, which I think his name is Clear Out Dragon Sweeper Acro Candle. Sorry if I pronounce it badly, I just look at the wiki here now and see the name, but he is the key of this deck, and for people who want to play this deck, you need to try to protect him at all costs. Basically, he's one of your win con. So his skill is, when he attacks the Vanguard, then you put the top card of the deck under this card as a gauge, so increase your gauge. And then another skill, which is a permanent skill, for each gauge under this card, he will get 5k. If you have 3 or more, then this card will not be selected by opponent's card effects. So basically, if you have 3 or more, then first you can stand him with your Anger Blader, and with 3 gauges he already get 15k power, so he's just a 24k by himself at all times and can't be selected by opponent's effects. So for example, Kagero's effect that target a unit and retired won't affect him, and other like minus power, for example, may not affect him as well because he cannot be selected. But the weak point is, if you are using skill that targets all, then you will bypass that, which is like Dragonic Kaiser Vermilion, which he attack all of your front row units. Then because they say all, so you can also pick him up and attack, or like Gauntlet Buster, just bind all front row units, then he will be gone as well. So do be careful if you are fighting like those kind of matchups that will target all of your stuff, or target all of your front row stuff, so that you don't play him too early, even though you can gain some advantage, but once he's gone, then it's a little bit harder for you to win the game. And next, for now, I'm only running 3 of this new guy, which is Turbo Similodon. So his skill is, when he appears as Vanguard Regard, or when he attacks the Vanguard, then you can put the top card of your deck to another unit under it as a gauge. So another way to increase your gauge, for example, for him you need 3 gauges, then he attack, he gets 1, you call him, you get 1, you attack with him, you get 1, you already get 3 gauges. And you can just put this guy on the Accel 2 circle to hit 14k and just give a marker. As long as he leaves, you can get a free gauge every turn. And I am running 4 of the Mega Rex. I am actually thinking to switch one to him, because I think 3 gauges seems to be more effective. But for now, I'm running S4 because Mega Rex can get 5k power per gauge. Of course, you need to pay counter +1 to activate that skill. But sometimes, if he's gone, then at least you still have a Mega Rex. You can just swing for a lower number standard, get 5k, and then you actually use the skill to get another gauge and get 5k per gauge. So it's still very important, but for now I don't use this skill to eat the regard and draw one, because like if you see this unit, they are so valuable, so I'd rather keep them. And I am running one of these guy, which is Bombaretta. So he is another high attack unit, something like that. So his skill is during your turn, if your opponent regard is retired, put the top card of your deck under this card as a gauge, and for each gauge you have on under this unit, he will get 5k. You can choose to do that, of course. I'm not sure why they put it like that. Maybe there's some skills that might affect that later, but for now, say you can get the power or you can choose not to. So normally you would. So another way to get power, get more gauges, to try to fight as strong as him, but of course you won't have the defense power because he's a triple rare, so he deserves to be that strong. And my last grade 2 is one of the Savage Academian. This card I put it in just for fun, but at the same time I find her quite useful. Her skill is by soul blasting one and rest this unit as a regard. Then you can call one of your unit under this card, which is as a gauge. So helps you if you, for example, put this guy under other unit as a gauge, then you can find your method to move those gauges under her, and what you need to do is just by soul blasting one and you can call the unit out. So helps you to kind of saving your resources and not just wasting them, because there are times that you keep getting gauges but you don't get this guy, you don't get this guy, or they are all under your unit as gauges. Then how are you going to win the game? Then you move those units under her, and then at least you can do it like once per turn to keep calling units out from her. When you save them up, then at least you can have some units to fight like every single turn. So I think she's useful here, but most of the people don't use her. They will probably be using more of these, but for me, I do want to like keep something fun and some special gimmicks in the deck as a backup plan, because I always like backup plans. When something happens, at least I got another way out. So she's in there. So here's my 3 and 2s. Then let's move on to our great ones. And first I'm running this guy, and let me see his name, which is Angry Roar Barrel. So this card is also another key unit that will help you win the game, and it's what I focus when I initially build the deck with 8 grade 3s. So his skill is, when he appears as a regard by soul blasting one, then you put the top card under another of your regard from the top of the deck as a gauge. Then for each gauge on that unit during the turn, that unit will get 5k. So basically, if you combo with this guy, you put a gauge under it, he gets basically like double the power, which for other weaker units, at least you can find a way to pump them up, but you need to soul blast, so you might not be able to use that often. But I find this card very useful in helping you to end the game. And then I'm running this guy, which is like Blade Dragon Fundilofo. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this card is also another key card in the deck. At first I don't actually run that much of him because when I'm running 8 grade 3s, he doesn't match the deck that much, but now since I changed to this type, he's more important. So his skill is, by wrestling this unit, then you select one of the rearguard, then you can choose to put the top card of the deck under that unit as a gauge, or move one of your rearguard's gauges of them to that unit. Also, by counterblasting one during the turn, you can get that selected unit 5k. So the unit that you selected to put a gauge from the top of the deck, or move all gauges to that unit will get 5k if you counterblast one. Which is why I think this card is important, because there are times that you have gauges everywhere, or on the units that you don't want them to be because you haven't drawn your key unit yet, but now you do. Then you need to move the gauges. Then here's here, and he can simply help you add gauges by just resting this unit. So very helpful. Also, not to forget our Academian will need gauges under her to Soul Blast and rest her to call a unit out. So if you have your key unit on other unit, then you can use him to put those gauges under Academian and then call them out. So very helpful. And now I'm putting 4. And next I'm running 3 of the Savage Trooper. He is a promo in Japanese and very hard to get for people who are not living in Japan, because we don't have methods to actually exchange them. So you need to go to Japan to buy it. You need to go to Japan to exchange it, or at least have someone there to have you get one. But luckily, recently with the new set, we get the promo packs, and if you watch my videos unboxing, then you will see I actually pulled some out. So I do have more than 4 copies, but in this deck I only need 3. His skill is basically just like our grade 2s. For each gauge under this card, you'll get 5k power. So another way to build up your power, another way to help you to win the game, another way to provide sources for him to stand, many things. And then I'm running 3 of the Sonic Noah, mainly because he just need to boost a unit and able to give that unit a gauge. So like early game, if you have a Savage Trooper as a rearguard and you have a Sonic Noah under it, then you can already boost him to 30k, which is a little bit hard to be attacked early game. And next turn you gain another gauge for him, so he's already like 18k, then he's even harder to be KO'd. Or you can put gauge on other units. Also, as long as his attack that this unit boosts his the Vanguard, you can retire another rearguard and draw 1 card. So if you have some unit that you are willing to give up, for example him, because he only be able to use a skill when he appears, so next turn you can just retire him, empty the space, so you can call another unit out. At the same time you get a draw card, so still useful. And I'm running 2 of this guy, only 2 because my spaces are for this guys, but at the same time I still want to find a way to get like gauges for free, and something that I can recycle my resources. So here's here. So for triggers, I am running 6 crits, and then 6 draws and 4 heals. So again, this deck actually changes my way of playing Tachikaze. In the past, I actually used a lot of front triggers because the way that I play, my Vanguard always attack first. Like for example, Giga Rex, you already get a lot of power, but if you get, for example, if you get crit and it's blocked, then your power won't get shared that much, and those units are not that strong. So that I am choosing front trigger instead, so that I can pump all my front row units more, and every single attack hurts. But now all my rigas get their way to pump themselves up. But my Anger Blader is actually the weakest one, so I choose to use crit instead, so that my opponent will just say no gut for the 70k attack and then take a crit, which I think is more effective this way. Maybe some people will even take out one more draw to put in one more crit, but for this deck, how fast you build up your field when you ride your graveyard is very important, so I'm using 6 draws instead. So that's the deck, and the way to win is actually very simple. What you need to do is to try to be the first turn player and try to win when you ride on this guy. So you will get a Accel circle. You have 4 front row units. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 7 attacks during that turn to finish your opponents off. If not, usually if you don't protect yourself early, or your opponents hit you hard early, then you are going to lose next turn, basically. Very easy to reach that kind of situation. It's really a dead or alive turn when you ride your Great Freeze. So it's quite fun. Like the most ideal situation is you have this, you have this, and then you have something like this or this, or even a trooper. Then you have this to pump, for example, pump this guy, and you have this here, and you have this here, something like that. Like maybe like this. Then this skill can pump this guy or pump this guy to picker. These just waiting to get the skill, and before you get the whole field, if you are calling this, you can just put whatever, maybe like a trigger, and then put it under here to retire a unit, and then this card get another gauge, get another 5k, and you can move your gauges around, and like when this boosted, you get 2 gauges already, and this card gives you another gauge, and you can keep using your hand to pump the gauges, and then when all these guys done, then you attack and stand these guys back up and try to finish them off by those like 6 to 7 attacks, which I think is quite fitting how a Dragon Empire deck should do. Rush, trying to win early, keep putting high powers, high pressure at all times. And this deck gives you the option to attack and play more Rigas early, because like Trooper or him, you just need to play them But this guy of course is better because you attack, you get a gauge, you boost it, you get a gauge, you rest it, you get a gauge, you call or attack this guy, you get a gauge. So he can just pump himself easily. But this, you need to find some way to put gauges under it, which is not hard, but at the same time you need to put some effort on it. But this guy, you don't need to put that much effort. And the key thing is, once they got 2 gauges or even 3, then they can hit the key numbers. For example, this guy, you can hit for 20, 24, then your opponent at least need to give you 15k for the first attack. And the next one, you get another 5k, they need to give you 20. So, can be crazy, can be fun, which is why I changed to this build. Which very funny with lower grapplers. If you see some like recent God Hand Dragon deck lists online on Twitter or maybe somewhere else, they are also running 4 Grey Freeze. So I think Accel clan is starting to change, and we are seeing more and more decks that are using less Grey Freeze in Accel. Of course, for Gold Paladin, for Pale Moon, and for Aqua Force, you probably will still be playing at least 7 or 8 Grey Freeze, so that you can keep recycling, because they are playing a kind of a slower game. Of course, if you can win when you first try a Grey Freeze, that's even the best. But if you can't, then you at least find a way to do it slowly, and you can still win the game. But with this, you need to be early, because even though they hit hard, but once your units are gone, then you are pretty dangerous. So yeah, basically this is how this deck runs, and I think Noper is kind of using a similar way of playing, but how they gain power is from the front triggers that they plan. You can put the top card, put your hand to the top card of the deck, which will be a front triggers, of course, and then for card hand with other cards, you change one front triggers into like 2 or 3 times bigger power, and try to win from that 1 or 2 turns. Because if you go first, you hit them hard with like 4 to 5 attacks, then they might be gone there, and if they are not gone, they probably won't be able to fight back, and the next turn you gain a crit with God Hand and try to pull front triggers again, then you can win from there. So which makes me interesting to see how Great Nature will go. Are we going to 4 Grey Freeze as well, or we are going to keep as like 7 or 8 Grey Freeze or even more? Then the next one will be Narukami. Of course, Bermuda comes first, but the next Accel clan will be Narukami again, which we can see if we are running 4 Grey Freeze as well, or just Tachikaze or Nova Grapplers being like a weird guy to play only 4 Grey Freeze. But we will see. So stay tuned for those. Of course, I will be unboxing the next set, and my friend is getting a case for Bermuda, so I can help him out and crack those. So you still get to see unboxing, but of course, the plans that I don't play, you probably won't see me doing a deck profile, unless my friend is kind of bored to take the deck and let me take them home. Then of course I can do a deck profile from there. But for now, I'm still trying to find a way to make fun with Nuvatama, even though I don't have the cards, of course, because I saw online that people are using the Valkyrian on Nuvatama, and use that as a base with the grade 0 to gain something like 140k power, something like that. But I don't know how the deck works, so I need to try to think up one myself and see if my friend can build it for me. Yeah, so put it aside. That's how the deck works, and that's how I feel the Accel clan is starting to get some changes. But of course, we will see from next set how things change or remains the same. But of course, I'm looking forward to that. So thanks for watching. It's a little bit longer video than I thought, but I think it's fun, and this deck is interesting, so do try to build one out and try yourself and let me know your comments. Yeah, so I will see you guys next time. Signing off.